Welcome, everybody. Please stand. Welcome to the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club, everybody, and Big Grove Brewery. We are going to get our meeting started off today with gusto.
That means sing loudly, make a lot of noise, okay? Here, Maestro is on the keyboard. Here we go with, Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber ways of gray, for purple mountain majesties above the frowning plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
I pledge allegiance. Please remain standing, Rotarians. It's with sadness we've got to do a moment of silence today. Longtime Rotarian Benny Hawkins passed away recently. We don't have an obituary yet. Vern Folkman is who let me know just yesterday. But let's give a moment of silence for a very happy, fun-loving fella, Benny Hawkins. You may be seated. We are going to jump right into things. We've got our greeter extraordinaire here ready to announce our visiting guests and visiting Rotarians. Take it away, Brianna.
Good morning. We did not have any visiting Rotarians register. Have we missed any visiting Rotarians today? Seeing none, we would like to invite you, if you are a Rotarian and you've brought a guest, please come up and introduce your guests.
Good afternoon. My name is Usha Balakrishnan. I did not actually bring a guest. The guest came over last week and I told her I would introduce her today. And it's Janelyn Yoder. Her story is just worth listening to, so please meet up with her. She lives in Kelowna and is looking to join one of the local banks in their investments division. Very particular, so please meet with her. Thanks.
I thought she was a girls wrestling coach. I didn't know who she was. Anyway, finally, I'm bringing my sweet bride of 5 years plus, Connie Bauer Crane, Washington, Iowa. That's where we live. I know some of you guys can't believe that it happened, but we did get married in 2017. Connie Bauer Crane, longtime nurse, surgical nurse.
Hi, I'm Patty McCarthy, and I wish to welcome Julia Winter again. She's the Development Director at Community Crisis Services and will be joining us, we hope, very soon, because she's here every week and she works hard. Oh.
Hi, everybody. I'm David Bywater. My guest today is Julie Zielinski. Julie is a member of one of the Cedar Rapids Rotary clubs, so she could have stood up during that portion. But today she's my guest as a friend here in Iowa City. We've known each other actually since 4th grade. She's recently moved to Iowa City to go to work. Longtime resident of the community, but now lives in Iowa or works in Iowa City as an instructor at the university teaching marketing and strategy. So we're happy to have Julie here today.
And I've got a couple guests as well. First, JJ Hardy, who has been through the paces of orientation and is about to be a new member, just like Julia. JJ, welcome. He runs his own coaching business. Tom Davies is also in the pipeline of joining as a new member. He works for KZIA as a sales associate. Welcome, Tom, again. And David Lemire, who owns Lemire Travel based in North Liberty, is, again, our guests are showing some great attendance here. So definitely showing some strong signs of being a great Rotarian in the future. So welcome, David.
I just want to make a side comment. I was just thinking today as we were singing, if you were just like a regular dining guest at Big Grove, and then suddenly there was a group singing, I just thought that kind of made me chuckle. Anyway, welcome to Rotary, and we're thrilled to have you.
Thank you, Brianna. Okay, let's get Bob Crane back up here. He's collecting dust over there, so let's not let him sit still for too long. We are going to, again with gusto, sing our favorite song called Smile.
Oh boy, here we go. This is tough. Maestro. Smile and the world smiles with you. Sing a song. Don't be weary, just be cheery all day long. Whenever your trials, your troubles, and your care seem to be more than you can really bear, smile and the world smiles with you. Sing a song.
Good gusto. That song just brings a smile to your face, doesn't it? Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, we're going to dive into announcements. First, just a real quick announcement. We don't want to dwell on it too long, but a fearless leader of ours, Barb Thomas, is undergoing some health issues. She's still undergoing some tests, and she just wanted to make sure that all of us were aware and able to send up some positive vibes, and no problem at all. She's gonna, beat these tests, and she should be back to see us here at our meeting next week. So keep Barb in your thoughts and prayers, and we'll go to LaDonna next.
Okay, on a happier note than illness, our club is having a Literacy Champions Party on the 29th of September. You are all invited to attend. We hope you will bring a guest, a spouse, a partner, a friend, and it is all about getting these books into the hands of kindergarten children. And I have a couple quotes here from some of the kindergarten teachers who have received these this week. On behalf of the kindergarten team at Penn, we say thank you for your great generosity in donating the I Can Read books. They are awesome, and we love to use them every year. The kids love the songs, and they are a wonderful supplement for us to teach sight words. And one more. Thank you so much for your continued generosity and support for the students and staff at Grant Elementary. In the classroom and at home, these materials are used and enjoyed over and over. So the kids love them, the teachers love them, and we just need to pay for getting them out there. So please come to the party or make a donation if you can. Thank you.
Thank you, LaDonna.
Hello, Tara Manetos with the Rotarian Supporting Women Committee. Just wanted to announce, I talked that we would be doing a baby supply drive for United Action for Youth's Teen Parent Program. There are quite a few parents enrolled that are delivering in October. So they're doing a baby shower more or less. And we're going to be at the North Dodge Hy-Vee on Saturday, September 24th from 9 to noon. And hopefully we can pack the van full of lots of very needed supplies. You're welcome to donate before that. Just come talk to me. But we're going to be at Hy-Vee if you'd like to volunteer. It's really fun. It's surprisingly fun to stand there and talk to people about what we're doing and good things we can do with Rotary. So September 24th. Thanks.
Yes, just Richard Companion, just one final reminder for our first Rotoroki event being held this afternoon from 5 to 8 at Willow Creek Park. I wanted to say, I guess it has multiple or multifarious goals. First of which to help Rotarians find our identity in an upbeat way. Secondly, reach out to the community, because we've invited just members of the community and neighbors. Reach out to potential members, and I know I've invited a few people who might potentially want to join our club. Finally, we decided that we would set up a karaoke tip jar, but the tips will not go to the karaoke DJ. They will go towards eradicating polio, and I guess the club can do our traditional match, or not the club, I guess Bill Gates will will match it. I think that's all I've got, other than I just wanted to say that I had not been that active in this club for a while, but planning this event really showed just what a great administration and great bunch of people Rotary is to work with. It's been very pleasant, and I'm really happy to do so. So thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. I have the first 25 attendees today will receive a symbolic bottle of kombucha, a bottle of water, and a karaoke trinket. So I just wanted to let you know that. And if anybody today says that they will attend, come see me and I will give you your kombucha and your trinket right here.
Wow, I can't follow that very well, but okay. On behalf of the Youth Leadership Program, you heard from the students who were sponsored by this club and others a few weeks ago, some 30 plus, Linda Farkas will correct me, students who, 50, excuse me, were able to go to RILA or the World Affairs. Closer? It's too close. We have, in the interest of, thank you, inclusion, our first thank you letter in Braille. This student wrote, "Thank you for sponsoring this great opportunity at the World Affairs Seminar. This experience taught me so much. I enjoyed my small group, and I had a great counselor who taught me a lot. I also loved all of the speakers. Sincerely, Grace." You made this possible. We want to continue this. These are our future leaders, so I invite all of you, please, whether you work for someone, you work with someone, come together and bring $500, put it in this envelope, mail it to us so we can sponsor more students who have an impact on their lives like this young woman did. Thank you.
So I have another announcement about the headstone cleaning project, which is going to be next Saturday, the 17th, right, JJ? Saturday morning, and if it's bad weather, we'll have the week following, the 24th. This all started for me when I went out and found that I had relatives that I didn't know used to live in Johnson County. This is a before picture on the left of my great-great-grandfather on the left and my great-uncle, who was a Civil War veteran, on the right. They're buried out in Newport Township Cemetery. And I happened to look at those graves, like, hey, it'd be great to get those cleaned up. And whether it was Siri or Fate or whoever, I happened to run across a guy who's cleaning gravestones for veterans here in the Iowa City area. There's been several articles written about him. So we went out in about the middle of July, and he and another lady, Madonna, taught me how to clean the stones. I went out this on Monday with my wife, and we happened to be out in the area, so we looked, and there's after pictures there. So my great-great-grandfather's isn't quite as clean as we would like, may need another treatment, but quite a difference. So thought you guys would like to see that. So if you're interested, please, we'd love to have some other people volunteer for us. It could be just a few hours Saturday morning, the 17th. There is even an evening game or something. Is there no game that day or evening? I can't remember. Yeah, evening game. So we won't interfere with any Hawkeye stuff, hopefully. Reach out to me. I've got some business cards. I'll leave some out front. If you can't talk to me after the meeting, grab one, text me, email me, give me a call. Love to have you. Thanks.
Ryan and I are holding a brainstorming session after today's meeting, so after 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Are there any community leadership program graduates in the room? CLP. You're particularly welcome to participate. What we want to do is at least think about how we can team up with CLP and recruit from there into Rotary, and also provide this sort of guided atmosphere within Rotary that helps our community. So if you're interested, we're really brainstorming, and Ryan, you and I are on a panel tomorrow for the opening session of CLP. So if you want us to look smarter, please come and provide some ideas. Thank you.
Please, please help us. Thank you, Usha. A couple more announcements. First, I haven't done this often enough, but Caleb continues to run our show. I know we've got some Zoom guests today, so you're welcome. Caleb has set all this nice technology up, and I'm very fortunate. I know that there's a lot less headache. So Caleb comes to us from Easton Design, and he also made our Kerber Heart Safe Initiative video starring myself and Mark Priest and Diane Atkins. And we've used that to leverage and make more people aware of what that particular committee is doing. So Caleb, thanks for all you're doing, buddy. I need my phone for this next one. Okay, Anna Moyer Stone. I got you. Okay, she's in charge of the Joint Service Club luncheon. As you all know, no doubt you know. She shipped me these shoes overnight because she knew that I would need some pretty fancy new shoes to make this announcement as well as she usually does. So here's what she wants me to say. Anna is on Zoom this week. I think I covered that. Keeping her germs to herself. So hopefully you feel better soon, Anna. She wanted you all to know that the annual Joint Service Club luncheon is happening in person this year with UI President Wilson as the speaker. It'll be Thursday, October 13th. So maybe mark that down because it'll be just like a regular meeting. However, Anna points out, you will need a ticket. That'll be an online ticketing process, and we'll get that link into our bulletin today and in future pre-meeting slides, and just kind of splash it around everywhere so everybody has access to that. And Anna will be here in person next week wearing, I'm sure, a new pair of shoes for herself, and we'll get to see her in person. So this announcement will be a lot more meaningful. So we'll look forward to that then. Thanks, Anna. Yes, it's gonna be right here. Yep, so for us, we're gonna cram about 112 people into this room from various service clubs, and it's gonna be a rambunctious festivity. It'll be good, I promise. Okay, one other announcement. She was up here before. She's not going to announce this herself, but our own board member, Tara Minetos, was recently nominated as one of the CBJ's 40 under 40. So congrats, Tara. Very well deserved, absolutely. And then one other quick announcement I forgot. 10/16, we're gonna be out here at 9 a.m. planting trees. So October 16th, Hawkeye off week. We're gonna plant some big trees this time. So roll up your sleeves and be ready, but also know that there's gonna be small jobs available. And Devin has a question, or maybe he's already volunteering, I'm not sure which. Thank you very much. Yep, that's what I meant. It's the 15th, just checking to see if y'all were paying attention. That'll be at 9 a.m. So it might be a little cool that morning, but we're going to plant, I think 50 fairly mature trees, and then maybe come over here and have a beer afterwards to celebrate. So mark your calendars down for October 15th, Saturday. Moving on, do we have Jim down? We are ready for my Rotary moment. And Jim has a cool story to share. I'm not going to take any of his thunder. I'm going to let him spend these 3 or 4 minutes however he wishes. And also, as we know, as Usha piped up with last week, each time we do this, we're raising at least $40 for polio. So Usha and Vern Folkman have so graciously offered to pitch in $20 each time we have somebody share their Rotary moment. So Jim, take it away.
Thank you. When I got the email from Ryan a couple days ago, I was still in Colorado. I've been out there for a month or so, and but it was easy to come up with my Rotary moment. You know, our club has done many, many good things. Well, one of them was the Iowa Moats project. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go to, on the first team to Kananga. And it was awe-inspiring. And one little boy, at that time, they decided they were only going to do soft tissue repairs of cleft lips, no hard palate surgeries. And this one little boy, 11-year-old, showed up with his 8-year-old brother and 4-year-old sister and his mother. And they had basically walked for 2 days to get to the hospital. And he had his surgery when he was 4 years old on his lip, but he had not had his hard palate corrected. And he still had a fistula. And so every time he would drink anything, it would come out his nose. And after we found out that he did not qualify to get his palate corrected, he was devastated. And we thought, well, we gotta do something for this kid. And Bill Lavelle was there, and he was able to get a very good impression of the upper mouth of this little boy. And I was able to make him an obturator, which is basically a orthodontic retainer. And one of the local dentists there was able to get acrylic to make the retainer, but we didn't have any wires to make clasps, so it would stay in place. I tried paper clips, and they were too fat. So every time the kid would bite down, he would hit one of those, and that was not good. Fortunately, it rained. And coming back from lunch, John Gross had an umbrella. And he noticed that the stays on the umbrella, stainless steel, were thin enough that they would serve as clasp. And so we got a hold of his umbrella, cut it up, got the wire, and were able to make his retainer. And it worked very well. He showed up then the next day, and we had some photographs, and I don't know what happened to him. But we gave him a glass of milk so they would show up, and we had him drink that. Well, enough comes out his nose. So then I put the retainer in him again, had a glass of milk, and the look on his mother's face, I will never forget that. It was priceless. But that is my Rotary moment.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Usha. Very good. Thank you very much, Jim. I think you should get a MacGyver award of some sort. You and John Gross turning an umbrella into a mouth retainer. That's impressive. Okay, we are ready for our program today, and I'm going to ask Devin to come up and introduce our speaker.
Thanks, President Bell. So we got a speaker here from Cedar County, and she actually graduated from the University of Iowa back in the 80s, and she's the executive director and a co-founder of the Sustainable Iowa Land Trust, which was launched in 2015 to permanently protect land to grow healthy food. And after graduating from the University of Iowa, she cut her political teeth on the farm crisis of the 1980s, and the stories of family farmers getting thrown and harassed off their land by lenders stayed with her all of her life. Job opportunities then took her out of Iowa, but she returned in 2010 with her husband to witness a dramatically different landscape, one from where nearly all family scale diversified farms had disappeared. At the same time, local food was and is more popular than ever. Young people could not afford the land to grow that food on. So she put her organizing and research skills to work, and 2 years later, leaders in agriculture development and planning from around the state joined together to create SILT, Sustainable Iowa Land Trust. They believe that the SILT solution reduces and often removes land debt from a farmer's equation, creating a more resilient farm economy for those who grow food for their communities. She's going to tell us all about SILT. We're glad that you're here, Susan. Thanks for making the trek in between coming here and then off to a sustainable hog farming conference later in the week. So we're part of her quest across the state. Thanks for being here.
I am wondering if I will mess you up too much if I move to the front here. Is that possible? Can I move up here? I need to see my slides because they're part of my talking points, guys. So you guys know the presentation trick that you never put too many words on a slide because people can't read and listen at the same time. If you don't know that, you do now. This is one of the most intimidating Rotaries I've ever spoken to, and I've spoken to a lot of you all. And I love speaking to you guys, but my goodness, you've got a lot going on. In West Branch, I live in rural West Branch, the other side of the town, but in West Branch, there's two kinds of Quakers. Does everybody know that? There's the quiet Quakers, and there's the loud Quakers. This was told to me by a quiet Quaker. Quiet Quakers sit silently, and they meditate, and they commune with God. Loud Quakers have a chorus and a pastor and all that racket, right? Well, I'm always going to know you guys as the musical Rotarians. The musical Rotarians. So my name is Suzan Erem. I am a graduate of the University of Iowa, proud graduate. Never have a good word to say about Iowa State. So if you're here, just don't talk. It's okay. I never went to a football game, but I'm still a proud alum. And I came back to the state that I love, that I fell in love with in the 80s in 2010 to retire. And I was shocked at the difference between the 1980s and 2010. And if you know that story of the frog in the beaker, you know, the one that's in the beaker and the water is slowly warming up and the frog dies and doesn't even know it's dying. And then there's the frog that jumps into the boiling water and jumps back out. I feel like you guys are all the frogs that have been getting warmed up. And I'm the one that jumped in and jumped out. That's what happens when you leave a community and come back. And when I came back, what I saw was a landscape full of confined animal feeding operations with 5,000 and 10,000 head of pigs in there. I saw a monocrop across the landscape, which is beautiful at this time of the year. I can't complain, but no diversity and very, very few family farms left. We have things called family farms, but they're not family scale farms like they were in the 80s, 180 acres or so, 160 acres. So slowly but surely, I began to realize that after 30 years away writing and organizing, that maybe I could put those skills to work here, as it said in my introduction. And so I started asking around to people who'd been living here all their lives, Denise O'Brien, Fred Kirschman, Bill Stowe, and other people, Jean Lloyd Jones, a hero of mine from Iowa City, saying, is this a problem? And if it is a problem, what should we do about it? And every last one of them said, yes, it's a problem, but we've been a little busy trying to save the family farm, trying to clean our water and do all these other things and grow the local food movement. We haven't had time to do much else. And I understood that. So we slowly but surely, after a year and a half of asking everyone we could find, developed this thing, Sustainable Iowa Land Trust. On every acre, it's a permanent solution because land trusts are the only nonprofit in America, that kind of nonprofit that can hold a forever promise on land that we don't own. And that's called a conservation easement. If you're familiar with Burr Oak Land Trust here in the area, we're like that. We are healthy because we actually take it one step beyond what most natural land trusts do. We require truly sustainable, nature-friendly table food farming on the land that we protect. And that's where the table food comes in. And we're solving the farm crisis for good. A lot of the people around the table in 2014 in Perry, Iowa, who we put up our own money to stay at the Hotel Pati out there for a weekend, Jean Lloyd Jones's idea. And it was just a week after her husband passed, so she couldn't join us. Said, you know, the same farm crisis we have every 40 or 50 years in America. And guess what? That's about the same amount of time most people own land, right? Go figure. And so we wanted to stop it. And we knew from the 80s what had driven, no Iowa State cracks here, okay? What had driven people into the system that they were in the 80s was debt. Because once you're in debt, you've lost some choices. Go ahead to the next one. So if we could reduce the debt load for farmers, for a particular kind of farmer, could that give them more choices? Well, we know that's what it does for commodity farmers. That's why we pay commodity farmers for a lot of the practices they do, because they want to reduce their risk and monetize their benefit. Well, so do food farmers. So on every acre that silt permanently protects through conservation easement or through a land donation, believe it or not, people have donated their land to silt, blew me away. We see this, the land becomes more affordable because when you limit the use of a piece of land, you've reduced its value, which means for the next buyer, you've reduced its cost. And for silt, that's about 40%. You get cleaner water and air because of our sustainable food farming requirements. You get more fresh food into the local food stream, as they call it these days, or local economy. Our landowners get legacy. A lot of our landowners right now are people who either grew up on those old diversified farms with the chickens and the sheep, or they spent summers at their grandparents' farms like that. And they remember the value of going out and doing the chores and getting muddy and getting their hands dirty. They remember the value of having a small town where you walk downtown and you saw people that you knew. Well, we're losing our small towns and we're losing those values because of this farmland is being turned into something else. And of course, we get a stronger economy because like everything else, we've learned from nature that diversity builds resilience. And when we have a more diverse agricultural economy, we have a more resilient economy so that our state doesn't go into grand mal seizures every time the price of corn drops, which is what happens. Okay, next. So at SILT, we saw challenges and opportunities. I'm going to go through these quickly because you amazing high achievers didn't give me a lot of time. We're watching land get paved over, rising hunger, consolidating industries, both in agriculture and in food. You have this pretend choice at the grocery store. Okay, I'm here to tell you, most of the companies you're buying from, there's like 3 or 5 at best. And a worldwide climate crisis. I hope I don't have to convince you of that. I happen to know that Rotary has a new interest now in environment. So that's, I think, why I'm here. And then we see opportunities. 400 million acres are changing hands in America in the next 10 years. Only landowners can decide what happens with their land next, right? It sounds so obvious, but if you own land, you can determine what happens to it next, but you can only do it with a conservation easement. And new farmers want more choices. You have a lot of younger people running this organization here who are attending this. You must know that the millennial group generation is the largest single generation in the workforce today, and they have very common values. They want to know, they want a healthy lifestyle. They want to know where their food came from. So those markets are growing exponentially. Local and organic and natural foods are growing exponentially faster than any other food market. And our new farmers know that, but they need the ability to choose to farm more ecologically. And that takes work. That's a lot more work than throwing synthetic chemicals on to control the biology of the soil. You're trying to get the biology of the soil to come up from the ground literally and do its thing naturally. And I can tell you from my own experience, that takes years. I watched my own property go into those kind of seizures for the first 3 or 4 years. It was like watching land come off drugs. You know, it was like, and there were all these annual weeds going crazy and all these other things going crazy. And everybody told me, just wait, just wait, just wait. And eventually the prairie came up. But it took some time. Same thing for these farmers. Next. So SILT is a solution for 3 kinds of constituents. One is for landowners. You can hit the next button, I think. This is Mary Ellen Miller, one of our founders, who donated 40 acres to SILT in 2015 down in Corridon, southern Iowa. She still lives there. She lives in her home there, but she gave us the deed. So when she passes, the entire property becomes ours. But in the meantime, we're partners with Mary Ellen. She's not married. She doesn't have any kids. And she really enjoys being a partner with SILT. We organize events there. We have people come out, learn what sustainable agriculture is about. We have a great time. So we were that for Mary Ellen. Next. We're also a solution for new farmers. This video is on our YouTube and also on our silt.org site. But in 90 seconds, we explain how new farmers of any background who don't have, our main criteria is you don't otherwise have access to land. Okay, you either don't have the money or the family, which is the 2 things that have driven access to land in America. and that you are eligible, and you will see a 40% drop in your debt load for buying land with a conservation easement, or a 40% drop in rent if you're on land that Silt owns. You'll be able to gain equity in the buildings that have been donated to Silt. So you can lease a farm forever, and your kids can inherit it if Silt owns it, and your grandkids can inherit it as long as they're still farming it. And every dollar you put into the buildings, you will get back when your family leaves that farm. When does your family leave that farm? When they stop farming it. So then another family can come in, or another person can come in and farm that land. The land becomes a public good. You see what I mean? And it becomes accessible to anyone based on a very clear and transparent criteria. Okay, next. So we already know from this research and more that we could feed every man, woman, and child in Iowa. And Dave Swenson from Iowa State, there you go. He was on our board for a while. We love Dave. He just retired. Showed in 2014 that on less than 12,000 acres in Iowa, we could feed every man, woman, and child their basic minimum daily allowance of fruits and vegetables, okay? Right now, we're importing 90% of our food. We're importing 90% of our food to the state of Iowa. Go to your grocery store, you take a look. You find the food that was grown in Iowa, and you'll see what I mean. Now, this research from 2020 shows that if we used 50 miles around every major metro area, we could feed every man, woman, and child in Iowa meat and potatoes. So not just fruits and vegetables, but an omnivore's diet. Now, some of you Rotarians here, business people, realtors, and others, you might think maybe you have a different plan for the 50 miles surrounding Iowa City than to put it into broccoli. And I understand that. Next. I get that. That could be a pretty radical idea. Just click once. Click once. There you go. So our idea is this. We have a 10-year plan to surround 10 Iowa cities with 10 permanent food farms. That's not asking a lot, guys. That's 4,000 acres out of 29 million acres of agricultural land in Iowa. But if we could permanently protect those 40-acre farms, we're just averaging, okay? 10 of those around every city, we could feed 800,000 people in Iowa. That's nearly a third of Iowa, instead of importing 90% of our food. Do we have any economists in the crowd? Anyone gonna own up to being an economist here? Chickens, okay. So most economists would say, wow, we're importing 90% of our food? That seems like an economic opportunity, right? But not economists in Iowa. Economists in Iowa think what we're doing right now makes all the sense in the world. But I happen to think that if we could feed 800,000 people in Iowa and create labor-intensive, job-creating jobs on these small farms and in transportation, distribution, procurement, and marketing, we might actually get more millennials to move here and the next generation. And we might actually be able to do our bit to solve climate change because we'd be growing this food in a regenerative way. I know it sounds silly, but that's actually true. On every acre, we could do that. We could make that difference, and that's what Silt's doing. Next. And then, and this sounds absolutely audacious to born and raised Iowans, I understand that, but we could actually take this model national. We could go to cities and towns around the country, not because we're geniuses, not because we're the first ones to figure out that farms near cities are a good idea, but I'm pretty sure that we're the first ones that would be going to planners in cities and towns and saying, plan for these farms. Just like you plan for a golf course and you plan for an airport and you plan for a city park, plan for these farms. And in the next 30 years, you will change your landscape and you will make your communities more resilient in so many ways. And by the way, every time you plant one of these farms in a growing community, the houses around it, they increase in value by 35 to 40%. So the realtors here should appreciate that. Why? Because you can build larger houses on smaller lots and you sell them faster. That's the experience of agri-communities, which is when you actually plan to have the farm in the community. And you have a farmer out there making a living on the land while they're basically tending your view, your backyard. Isn't that cool, right? Okay, go ahead. So this is our plan. We've already been through 2021. We did our proof of concept in Fairfield, Iowa. We applied our lessons in 2022. We've launched in Dubuque just last week after getting a $570,000 American Rescue Plan grant from them for the next 4 years, which we matched with $425,000 of our own money raised around this concept. And then we're also launching in Des Moines, where we have a $250,000 ARPA grant that we're matching, and we're still talking to the city of Des Moines, but that was Polk County that gave us that. So we've launched in 2 cities, and we have 2 farms coming to us, not around those 2 cities, but we do have 2 farms so far this year, and we're in conversation with the city of Des Moines about permanently protecting some of their land for food farming. And we can thank our allies for that, because every time a young farmer or new farmer gets thrown off of city of Des Moines property, it makes the front page of the Des Moines Register. Okay, so then our idea is to match farmers with farms. This is not easy. Each one of our farms is a little different. It wants to grow different kinds of food. And our farmers, we have 170 applicants right now on our farm seeker survey. They all want to do different things in different parts of the state. So it's a little bit of being a yenta, if you know what that is. Yeah, we have a few people who know Yiddish and stuff. And then we'd have 10 farms in production, expand our footprint with agrihood, the way I just described. And by 2024, if we raise the 3 million that we're seeking, this program itself, the 10-10-10 program, will be self-sustaining. Keep going. That's our road ahead. Yes. So hit it one more time. I usually do this myself. Okay. So these kind of farms, this is our farm. By the way, we're having an open house at this farm, Red Fern Farm in Wapello, on September 20th, 2 to 6 p.m. And this is a chestnut and pawpaw farm that is protected with a silt easement. They average $7,000 per acre per year in income, net income. Corn and soybeans, about 300 to 400, on a good year, 450. And you have to till it every year, and you have to replant it every year. Don't have to do that here. Go ahead. This is an image of some of the kind of farming we're talking about. This one's from northern New York, so it has trees. We would have prairie along our waterways because it holds soil so much better. But you can see the diversified farming operation there. Go ahead. Here's another one. These are examples of what we call working buffers, which is the program we're going to be doing in Dubuque, where we build perennial food farms in the waterway to not only hold soil in place, but do all those other good things we've been talking about. Next. This is also, this is in Winfield. It's a chestnut grove in the city limits of Winfield. It's a little tight right now, but the man who planted it with his wife in 1996, he just passed away last year, John Wittrig. But the family still owns this, and they hire the people of Winfield to pick up those chestnuts and package them every fall. So job creating, nice place to work, right? It's not too hot, et cetera. Go ahead. This is Ben. He moved to Wisconsin because he gave up on Iowa. Next. This is Kim. This is Kim. He came back to Iowa from Texas, but by then he was independently wealthy, so he could afford to do this, okay? And he came back to family land, hence the age and the cute cows, all of whom have names, by the way. Go ahead. And so that's what we're asking. Go ahead and click on that. We're just asking you to consider the fact that we are running out of time. Keep going. As Martin Luther King said so many years ago, there is such a thing as being too late. And we're getting there, folks. So silt is an opportunity to make a difference now in something that you barely ever think about, right? Land is like oxygen. You don't really notice it till it's gone. And so I'm asking you to pay attention to the oxygen and decide what you want to do with your land in Johnson County. And I'm going to close out here, so we leave a couple minutes for questions. I went through that kind of quickly. I will tell you we've protected nearly 1,200 acres across the state on 14 farms, 2 of which are in Johnson County, I'm proud to say. 40 acres near Solon, just north of Solon, and 63 acres in Morse, which is just north of Iowa City. Called Morris by the locals. Okay, anyway, that's everything I've got. Yes, sir. Are any of the farms irrigated? Yes, some of the vegetable farms are irrigated. We're actually using drip tape. Many of the farmers do. I'm not, they're not wage workers, they're entrepreneurs, but they use drip tape that was actually developed in Israel that drips water just on the plant all the way down the row. It's very, very climate friendly. Yes. Yes, the houses being built around farms is the concept of the agrihood. We fought for over 2 years. We weren't fighting at the time. We were collaborating with Dow's Farm in Cedar Rapids. The vision of that planner was to have an agri-hood on a 179-acre piece of land the county had bought. And for 2 years, we sat at the table helping them design that with 20 other people. But the planner retired. There was a new supervisor elected to the supervisors, and another year later, suddenly protecting the farm wasn't a priority, unfortunately. That means that the farmer on that land, surrounded by those beautiful homes, will always have his or her land under threat of development. It will always be under development pressure because there's nothing protecting it from getting developed. And that's a vision that's 20, 40 years out that I couldn't get enough of the supervisors to consider crucial. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the question is, I think, how integrated is the farm with the housing, the people who own the homes? And there are different formulas all over the country. In some cases, your homeowners association fees will contribute towards paying for your food share for the year. In some cases, they don't do that. In some cases, the farmer just offers a discount to the people in the community versus the people beyond the community. And sometimes there's no relationship at all, but except for the fact that you're together, you're adjacent to one another. So it's really wide open as to what the developer thinks is wise, and then eventually what the homeowners association and the farmer think are wise. We had proposed an advisory committee of homeowners and the farmer, along with the county, since they still own the land. And we thought among those three, we'd come up with a pretty helpful and good marketable formula. But like I said, it kind of fell apart as personnel changed. Yes. I may have met that person many years ago. Was it Catherine or Karen? Oh, I would love to meet. I would love to meet the planning director. I have not talked to the city of Iowa City. I have spoken with I mean, we have good relations with Johnson County, but I haven't dealt with the city itself. And I would love to. That would be fine. I always get the feeling that Iowa City's, pushing up against its edges, and there aren't 20-acre lots around, but maybe there are. I don't know. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 So I'll need to condense that for the folks on Zoom. Men die younger than women, and therefore I should be grooming the women to give us their farms. I think that was it. So is that fair enough? Non-traditional farmer, that's right. Well, there is a Women Food and Agriculture Network that we love dearly that focuses solely on women and helping older women, in fact, learn how to talk to their tenants and things like that. We love working with them. We have actually found a pretty fair balance between men and women coming to us, but I do have a belief that older women are in a different socioeconomic situation than their husbands were, who were expected to make that living for the family and raise those kids and get them through college with their farming or with their off-farm jobs. And let's be honest, everyone, almost nobody makes a living at farming. Okay, that's what the winter is for. And by the time these older women have inherited the land, they can look at it in a different way, right? They can afford to think of it a legacy. They can afford to think of conservation and those kind of, that's not everyone. That's kind of my basic bias on that. So yes, we're often looking for older women. I would love to talk to any women leadership organizations that you know of, because I think there are a lot of us who have inherited land in Iowa and we don't know what to do with it. Yes. How is the food getting from the farm to the consumer? And any number of ways. Some farms have a lot of on-farm events. Many of our farms sell at farmers markets, or they do the subscription farm, the community supported agriculture, or CSA. But the East and West Coast tell us that those are not long for this world. Farmers markets get oversaturated. You very kind people who go around and buy a few dollars worth of things from each farmer, you're killing them, okay? Spend your money at one farm, okay? So, but you know, so we don't know that, right? But that's what's going on the farmer end. We're pretty sure that home delivery of food boxes is the next stage. And then after that, what's called the ag in the middle, or the ag of the middle, getting to the local schools and the hospitals and nursing homes with value-added product that they can consume is probably the next place for these farms to go, other than kind of niche crops and things like that. And I have to tell you, you know, we're not part of that job of rebuilding the local and regional food system, which is a huge job. But thankfully, there are a lot of people out there doing that too. And the current administration is spending billions on it. So it's very hopeful. In the bottom of the USDA emails now, I see the Biden-Harris administration is dedicated to rebuilding local and regional food systems. I almost fell out of my chair when I read that. I was like, are you serious? They're actually talking about food? So yes, thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, she has some information available for anybody who would like more detail. Thank you very much for a great program. We are a little bit out of time, so we are going to go ahead and wrap up this meeting. We'll finish it like we always do with reciting the four-way test. So I'll have you stand. Of the things we think, say, or do, the truth, fair to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you all. Go out and be awesome.